At approximately 2 a.m. local time, a series of explosions rocked the Venezuelan capital, Caracas, abruptly awakening the city and marking the beginning of a major military escalation. According to AP, AFP, and Reuters, multiple explosions were reported across Caracas in the early hours of the morning. For nearly 90 minutes afterward, residents reported the sound of aircraft overhead and thick black smoke rising above the city. International media confirmed at least 7 distinct explosions. Witnesses reported low-flying aircraft and helicopters circling the capital. At least 9 helicopters were seen over Caracas, while several neighborhoods experienced widespread power outages. Civilians, startled by the blasts, rushed into the streets amid confusion and fear. The strikes reportedly targeted key military facilities. Footage showed smoke rising from hangars at a military base in Caracas, while nearby areas were also affected. In addition, explosions were reported at the Revolution Museum, where the remains of former President Hugo Chavez are kept. According to Bloomberg, citing eyewitness accounts, the attacks were not limited to the capital. Venezuelan authorities confirmed strikes in the neighboring states of Miranda, Aragua, and La Guaira. In La Guaira state, home to a major port serving Caracas, a fire broke out shortly after the attack. U.S. media outlets, including Fox News, reported that Venezuela appeared unprepared for the initial airstrikes. According to these reports, the country's air defense systems failed to respond, and no immediate countermeasures were observed. U.S. President Donald Trump later confirmed the military operation. In a post on social media, he stated that the United States had carried out a large-scale and successful attack against Venezuela and its leader, Nicolas Maduro. President Trump further claimed that President Maduro and his wife were captured and transported out of Venezuela. This statement suggests that U.S. Special Forces may have conducted a ground operation in parallel with the airstrikes. Following the attack, the Venezuelan government strongly condemned what it described as a U.S. invasion. A nationwide state of emergency was declared, and a full mobilization order was issued to the armed forces and civilian militias. Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, speaking on state television, said that the whereabouts of President Maduro and the First Lady were unclear. She demanded that the United States immediately clarify whether the presidential couple was alive. International reaction was swift. Colombian President Gustavo Petro called for an emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council to address the situation. It was also reported that prior to the strikes, the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration had ordered American civilian aircraft to avoid Venezuelan airspace. President Trump has repeatedly accused Nicolas Maduro of leading a narcotics trafficking network and has previously suggested that military action, including ground operations, could be necessary to combat drug smuggling in the region. The U.S. government has also carried out operations against suspected drug trafficking vessels near Venezuela in recent months. As the situation continues to unfold, the international community is closely watching whether this operation will be deemed a violation of international law and how it will reshape political and security dynamics across Latin America.